Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the lecture of Operation Research. In the last lecture, we have studied how to solve the problem by dual simplex method. First, we will try to understand about this dual simplex method. This name, as it suggests, is dual simplex method. That is, the steps used in this method are exactly complementary that of we have done in the simplex method. We have seen this in detail. Let me just recall. Simplex method is the algorithm we were using for solving the problems involving less equal type of constraint. That of dual simplex method we were using for solving the problems with greater equal constraint. Here we are restricted in simplex method. We are restricting the right hand side of the constraints to be non-negative in order to have the feasible solution rather than initial feasible solution. But here we are not restricting this. That is while converting this greater equal constraint to less equal, we are multiplying with the negative. With this, the right hand side constant becomes negative, and that can be adaptable. In simplex method, we are starting with feasible solution. That is, we are writing initial basic feasible solution, and at last we are writing optimal basic feasible solution. But in dual simplex method, we were doing exactly complement. That is, we are starting with an optimal solution, and we are removing that infeasibility, and we are going towards the feasibility. Sorry, here I am writing infeasibility. We are going towards feasibility of the solution. That of in simplex method, first we are finding incoming, then outgoing. But here in dual simplex, first we are selecting outgoing, and then we are deciding what is the incoming vector. And these two are the formulas for selecting the outgoing vector and the incoming vector. Outgoing vector criteria is very simple. Whatever is the negative values of your xbi's you have, we will select most negative xbi. That will be the first living vector or outgoing vector. And to select the incoming vector, we are finding the maximum of the ratio delta j upon xrj. Xrj are the elements in the key row. We are taking only those xrj's which have negative value. Whichever is the maximum will give us that kth value. That kth vector will be the incoming vector. The dual simplex algorithm says that first write the given LPP in the standard form. Is writing the standard form means writing it in the less equal format. Here, if the constraint is in greater equal sign, we will multiply this by the negative symbol in order to get this less equal. Means we are not restricting this to be a right hand side constant to be non-negative. May assume it to be negative as well. If the current basic solution is the feasible one, no need to proceed because whatever is the optimum will be feasible, hence it will be a final solution. But if the current solution is infeasible, then we have to go to the next step. Select the outgoing vector with minimum of xbi, that is most negative value. Once we do this, outgoing vector will be selected, a key row will be selected. We'll call it as a key row, no? And then we'll find out the ratio. Ratio of what? Key row, okay, net evaluations upon key rows with negative entries. That is, we are going to ignore with positive and zero denominator. So this is the formula. Once we get key row and key column, we will get the key element. Next step, we know reduce the key element to unity, all the other elements to zero, and just repeat the process until optimal basic feasible solution is obtained. We have optimal with us, that is, we have already all net evaluations are non-negative. We have to think of the feasibility, that is, all entries in the xb column should be non-negative. Once we obtain this, we have to stop the process. We have seen this example. Okay, therefore here we have all the constraint in the less greater equal format. Therefore we have converted to less equal multiplying by -1. Therefore what is the initial basic solution we have? I cannot say feasible, right? Therefore -3, -6, -3 are the values. Therefore whatever is the simplex method we have carried out. Therefore what is my outgoing vector? Outgoing vector is most negative. Which is the most negative value here? -6 is most negative, no? Therefore this will be the key row of outgoing vector, right? x4 is going to leave the basis. To select the incoming one, we will just look at this key row, second row. We will take the ratio of net evaluations divided by these key row entries, provided the key row entries are negative only. Therefore, in this key row, we have two entries which are negative, -4, -3. Therefore, which ratio we will calculate? 2 upon -1, 1 upon -3. This is the shortcut. If you forget the formula also. Okay. How to find out the ratio? Net evaluation upon the entry in the key row which is negative. Here we have done this in detail and we have solved this example. And in this last table, if you observe, all the values in XB column are positive. 3 by 5, 6 by 5 and 0. All the values are non-negative. Here the process stop. The solution is feasible. Okay. Therefore, here we are going to stop the process and what the solution we will write at last. Right. In today's lecture, we will take one more example of this dual simplex method, and then we will try to understand how to find out the relation between primal dual solution, how to find out the relation between primal solution and dual solution. Let me take one more example. The example is minimize z is equal to 3x1 plus x2 subject to the constraint x1 plus x2 is greater or equal by 1 and 2x1 plus 3x2 is greater or equal by 2 and x1 x2 greater or equal by 0. Writing the standard form in the dual simplex method means what? Objective function, maxima, constraint in less equal form. Should I write it in the algorithm itself? What is the standard form? Objective function, maxima, and constraints place equal. Okay, so these are the 2 points we have to check on. Now here the objective function is given in the minima form. So first we will write the objective function in the maxima. Let me write this as maxima z star is equal to minus 3x1 minus x2, where z star is minus 0. Okay, subject to. Now what we have to do? We have to convert this greater equal constraint to less equal. Minus x1 minus x2 less than or equals to minus 1 minus 2x1 minus 3x2 less than or equals to minus 2 and x1 x2 greater or equal by 0. Right? Then what will be my next step? Convert those inequality constraint to equation. Here as the equations inequalities are in less equal form, we will add slack variables. Therefore, let us start adding slack variables x3 and x4 we get. This is minus x1 minus x2 plus x3 is equal to minus 1 minus 2x1 minus 3x2 is equal to minus plus x4 is equal to minus 2. What is the initial solution then? Which are the basic variable? What is the initial solution? Hello students.
Basic variable is x3, x4.
Good. And what is the initial solution? Minus 1, minus 2. Correct, na?
Minus 1, minus 2.
Therefore, what is my initial simplex table? Basic variables CB, XB, X1, X2, X3 and X4. How many constants? 2 constants. Here I will just put a line. Now I am not going to write all the formulas for incoming and outgoing vector. I am going to write it directly. Okay? If you feel difficulty, you just stop me and ask. What are the CJ entries now? The function is minus 3 minus 1. Na? These two values are 0, 0. What are the basic variables? X3 and X4. What is the cost of basic variables?
0.
0, 0. What is the value of basic variables? It is solution. Minus 1, minus 2. Right? Now I will write the entries in the table. First column, minus 1, minus 2. Second column, minus 1, minus 3. 1, 0, 0, 1. Clear na? Now what this next step should be? Z is equal to CBXB. What is Z equal to CBXB? Is it 0? Sorry, Z star, not Z. If Z star is 0, what is Z? 0, no? Because Z star is minus 0. What is the net evaluations? For the first variable, CBX1 minus C1. CB is 0, 0, therefore this is 0. Minus of minus 3, this is plus 3. Therefore here it is plus 1, 0 and 0. Okay, all delta J's are non-negative. Solution is optimal but not feasible. Right now? Because the entries in the XB column are, both the entries are negative. Both the entries are negative. Therefore the solution is optimal but not feasible. Now what we will do? We will use the dual simplex method. Therefore first we will select the outgoing vector in this case. What is the outgoing vector? Most negative XBI we have to select. No? Therefore here most negative is minus 2. Therefore which variable will leave the basis?
X4.
X4 will leave the basis. Now we have to select which variable will enter the basis. Okay. In order to select which variable will enter the basis, what is asked to find out? A ratio, net evaluations upon those entries in the key row which are negative. How many entries are negative in the key row? These two entries are negative. Therefore, which two ratios are possible? Corresponding net evaluation by the entry, net evaluation upon this entry. Therefore, which two ratios we have obtained? 3 upon minus 2, 1 upon minus 3. Which is the maximum? 3 upon minus 2 is the first ratio. Second ratio is 1 upon minus 3, which is the maximum one. 3 upon 2 is something 1.5, no? And 1 upon 3 is something 0.33, which is maximum. Both are with negative sign. This one is maximum, no? Minus 1 upon 3. Therefore, which variable will enter the basis? X2. Are you getting me or should I write the formula again?
Not getting, ma'am.
कळत नाही मॅडम.
Find outgoing vector first. What is the formula? XBR is equal to minimum XBI provided XBI less than 0. Okay, those XBIs you have to take which are less than 0. How many XBI do we have here? XB1 and XB2, only 2, and both are negative. Therefore, what we will do, we will put both the values here, minus 1 and minus 2. Which is the minimum? Minimum means most negative. Minus 2, no?
Yes, ma'am.
And minus 2 corresponds to second basic variable, no? This is XB1 and XB2. Therefore, what is the value of R we got? R is 2. Therefore, second basic variable will leave the basis. Correct? Are you getting me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, which variable leaves the basis? X4 leaves the basis. Now we have to look at the elements in the second row. What are the elements in the second row? Minus 2, minus 3, 0 and 1. Out of those, we have to take care only for the negative entries. And for those negative entries, we have to calculate the ratio in order to find out the incoming vector. To find the incoming vector, what is the formula? Delta k upon x2k, shall I write? Because r equal to 2 we got. x2k, which is maximum. For which two values we got this negative, or shall I write the formula first? This is delta j upon x2j, provided x2j less than 0. That is only those entries we have to take care which are negative. Here we have two entries negative. Which are the two entries? x21 and x22 both are less than 0. Therefore, how many ratios are possible for j equal to 1? Delta 1 upon x21. For j equals to 2, delta 2 upon x22. Right? What is delta 1? 3. What is x21? Minus 2. First ratio is 3 upon minus 2. Second is 1 upon minus 3. Right? No? Which is the maximum one? Minus 1 by 3 is
1 upon
maximum.
3.
Which corresponds to delta 2 upon x22, no? Therefore, what is the value of k?
2.
2. K is equal to 2. Thus, second variable. I am not writing basic. Second variable. What is the second variable? x2, na?
Yes, sir.
Second variable will enter the basis. Okay, second variable here I will write. Second variable x2 will enter the basis. Then what is my pivot? This is the shortcut I am telling you actually. Why to write everything? Na? This points you, these steps you can skip. Or you have found the ratio 3 upon minus 2, 1 upon minus 3. That is what I am telling you here. Observe the entries in the key row which are negative. These two are negative. Therefore, the ratio is net evaluation upon by those negative entries. Net evaluation upon by the negative entries. This is the formula. Okay. Now, if I want to convert this minus 2 to unity, remaining entries to 0, which row operations to be used? First, R2 upon minus 2, right? Next, one minus 2 is the position, no?
Ma'am,
हाँ बोला.
हम pivot -3 आहे ना, x2 एंटर करेल.
Oh, sorry. Second variable, ना? I have marked it, but I forgot. Minus 3 it is. Now what is my row operation? R2 by minus 3. Good. And what is the first element? Minus 1, no? Minus 1, minus 3 are the entries. So what are the row operations? First is R2 upon minus 3. Second is R1 added with R2 upon minus 3. Okay. Because if I do R2 upon minus 3, this is R1 plus R2 is minus 3 divided by minus 3. Minus 3 minus
Ma'am,
3 plus 3
R1
plus and minus. Yes. Hello. R1 plus R2 by minus 3. Is there any difficulty with this?
No, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Correct, no? These are the row operations we have to use. With this, our key element becomes 1, other element becomes 0. Now, as my table is very above in order to do the calculations, what I will do, you just do the calculations, I will write the table directly. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
After doing this, the table is first variable x3 as it is, second variable is now x2, cost of this will be 0, cost of x2 is minus 1, And the XB column we were getting is minus 1 by 3 and 2 by 3. This is minus 1 by 3 and 2 by 3. No doubt this is 0, 1. This is. I think everyone can do the row operations very easily. Friends, keeping those part of calculator. Okay. Now check whether the solution is feasible again or not. If it is feasible, we will stop. Check whether the solution is feasible. No, it is not feasible yet, no? Because all the entries in XB are not non-negative. This entry is still negative. Right? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
What is
ma'am.
Z star? Minus 2 by 3. Right? Let me just write the value of Z star here. What is Z then? 0. Now here if Z star is minus 2 by 3, what is my Z? Plus 2 by 3, no? Whether the value increases or not. Okay. What are the entries of net evaluation? CV x1 minus C1. Now we can do this entry. 0 into minus 1 by 3, 0. Minus 1 into minus 2 by 3. Minus 2 by 3 plus 3. 3 minus 2 by 3 is always
7 by 3.
7 by 3.
7 by 3.
Good. This is 7 by 3. For basic variables, no doubt 0, 0. But for the last, 0 minus 1 by 3 is plus 1 by 3. Again, if we observe all net evaluations are non-negative, means the solution is optimal, but this is not feasible because this entry is negative. Then what will be my outgoing vector at this stage? Out of the two, we will select minimum XBA, that is most negative. We have only one negative, therefore this will going to leave the basis, no? Because variable है ना, अच्छी value negative.
Yes, ma'am.
तो बाहर जाए. Okay. Should I write it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Find outgoing vector. XBR is minimum XBI less than 0. But how many XBIs are negative? Only one XBI is negative. Because itself will be the minimum. And this corresponds to XB1, first basic variable. So what is the value of R? We are getting 1. Okay. Therefore, first basic variable X3 will leave the basis. Okay. Now it's the time to choose the incoming vector. What is the formula? Delta K upon XRK. Sorry, R is 1, no? We write X1. How many entries in the first row are negative that we have to think? Look at the first row. How many entries are negative? 2 entries are negative, no? This one and this one. Therefore, which ratios we have to calculate? The net evaluation, this one divided by the corresponding negative entry. This net evaluation divided by this corresponding negative entry in the first row. Which are the entries negative? 1 1 entry negative, 1 4 entry is negative, no? Am I correct? 1 1 and 1 4. If you are having any kind of difficulty, you just stop me and ask. Okay? 1 1 and 1 4 are less than 0. Therefore, which two ratios to be calculated? j equal to 1 and j equal to 4. That is delta 1 upon x11. Delta 4 upon x14. Correct, no? What is delta 1? 7 by 3, no? And what is delta 4? 1 by 3. What are the negative entries? 1 is minus n by 3, minus n by 3. Out of these two, we have to select which is the maximum. Yes. First is minus 7, second is minus 1. Which is maximum?
-1.
And that corresponds to delta 4 upon x14. Therefore, what is the value of k we are getting? 4, na? Correct, no? Therefore, which variable
Yes, ma'am.
will enter the basis? Fourth variable, no? See, at the first stage, it goes out. Then it is coming back again. But this we should not do in case of artificial variable. Once the artificial variable is removed, we cannot enter it. Fourth variable x4 will enter the basis. Now, what is the pivot? This is the entering one. What is the pivot? This one is the pivot. Which row operations to be used?
R1 into -3.
R1 into minus 3 and R2 minus R1. Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you please do the row operations. I will write the entries now. What are the basic variable? X4 and X2. Correct? First variable X3 leaves the basis, X4 enters the basis. 0 and -1. Your table representation should be very neat. XB entries here are 1 and 1. First column is 1, 1. This is 0, 1. X3 is -3, -1. X4 is 1, 0. And Z star at this stage is -1. That of Z is +1. Net evaluations are 2, 0, 1, 0. Okay, now check whether the solution is optimal and feasible both. Since all delta j's are greater than or equal by 0, solution is optimal. Correct, na? Solution is optimal. And how it ensures feasibility? XBI is non-negative, solution is feasible. So what kind of solution we have obtained? Optimal basic feasible solution. Thus, optimal basic feasible solution is given by. What is value of x1? Look at the table. What is x1? 0. x2 is 1. And what is z star? Oh, no need actually to write z star. You can write z. What is z?
1.
1. Okay. Initially z is 0 actually. Okay. Initially z is 0. And for the last table we are getting z is 1. But the problem is minima. That is, this is not a minima. Among 0 and 1. Among 0. For initial table z is 0. Last table z is 1. though the value is not becoming minimum, but it becomes feasible. Solution becomes feasible. Therefore, we have started with optimality and we have reached to feasibility. Any difficulty for this problem? Yeah, you can ask it. Okay, let me give you some examples for homework. Okay, try to solve these examples, the homework. Okay, and here let me tell you one thing again. Whatever these middle steps we were writing for incoming and outgoing vector, no need to write this. Okay, you can have a direct calculation. Let us try to understand the shortcut for that. Formula says that whatever is the key row, okay, just note which are the negative entries. Therefore, the ratio is calculated net evaluation upon that corresponding negative entry. Net evaluation upon that corresponding negative entry and select the maximum. Whichever the variable gives the maximum value, we will leave the basis. Sorry, we'll enter the basis. Okay. So we'll try not to make confuse. Very easy method we have. Okay. Therefore, later at the last stage, we will just mention what are the advantages of dual simplex method over simplex method. Whether from students, can anyone tell me what is the advantage of dual set in simplex method? Which methods we have used in order to solve the problems with greater equal constraint? Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Which methods we have studied to solve the LPP involving greater equal type constraints? Two methods we have studied, no?
Big M and two-phase method.
Big M and two phase. Which type of variables we were using for this? Artificial.
Artificial.
Right? But this is the dual simplex method we have used, we have solved by using without using the artificial variable. Because whenever the artificial involves, we have to take care of a lot. In begin, we have to give the big cost, and then later we have to reduce the cost. In two phase, we have to solve the problem in two different steps. That may increase the number of tables in your calculation. Therefore, the advantage of this dual simplex method is we are not going to use the artificial variable. Therefore, I'll write in short, we do not require artificial variable. This is the big advantage. Therefore, in the exam also, if it is asked to solve the LPP involving greater equal constant and if the method is not mentioned, I suggest to solve by dual simplex method instead of going by big M or two-phase method. Okay. And what is the difference? Difference in both the methods? We have already discussed actually. This method is similar to simplex, only changes we are starting with optimality and going towards feasibility, no? In simplex we have done exactly reverse. The dual simplex method is similar to standard simplex method, except that in the latter starting initial basic solution is feasible but not optimal. In simplex, this is feasible but not optimum, while in the former, latter means simplex method. Oh, sorry, dual method. Feasible but not optimal. But not optimum, while in the former, it is infeasible but optimal. That is, dual simplex method works towards feasibility and simplex method works towards optimality. Simplex method works towards the optimal. Okay, now the last point in this chapter remains in order to understand the relation between the solutions of primal dual problem. For this, I am giving you one homework example. For this example, you have to solve the given example as it is by using whichever applicable method, then find its dual and that too you have to solve. Okay, and once you get the solutions of both types of problem, we will in the next lecture we will discuss the relation between their solutions. Okay, what you have to do is solve the problem and call it as primal. X naught zx is equal to 40x1 plus 50 x2 subject to the constraint okay, you have to solve this problem, find the dual and that dual also you have to solve. As both the constraints are of less equal type, first solve this primal by simplex. Correct? Solve this primal by simplex, find the dual. Once you find the dual, constraint will be of greater equal. Then solve the dual by dual simplex. Okay, and just we will compare the last tables of both the problems in order to understand the relation between the solutions of primal dual problem. Complete the homework for today. In the next lecture, we will discuss the relation between their solutions. Is that okay?
Yes.
And we will go for the third unit of the syllabus. Let me stop for today. If you have any difficulty, you just ask. It's very simple actually to solve by dual simplex method instead of big M and two-phase. That's why I'm suggesting to use the dual simplex method in your exam if it is not asked to solve by a particular method. If it is asked to solve particularly by big M method, then there is no option. You have to solve by the particular method. But if it is not given by which method to solve, then we have a freedom to choose the method. In that case, I suggest you to choose the dual simplex method to solve the problems of NPP involving greater equal constraint. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Do the homework, today's homework, whatever I have given you. In the next lecture, I'll just going to compare the last tables of both the solutions, and we will just try to understand the relation between the solutions of primal dual problem. Let me stop for today. Thank you for being with me for this lecture.